All right, class, so I've got Caitlin's project up. I've altered it because I had mentioned previously that the way Caitlin's desk was just driving me crazy. It was in the other direction and going like this, and I didn't like it at all. It seemed to block the space instead of work with the space. So what I did was I mirrored it. I literally just used the mirror tool and mirrored it, placed it in a spot that allows for full traffic to go to the stairs, to the elevator, walk around, enter pretty easily, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And it kind of looks cool because it curves around the column. So I like it better this way. That's just me. I would even probably take the columns and I'd make them circular, and then I'd rotate this guy. Watch this. If you rotated it so it's kind of a little more like that even, then it would look like the column would kind of fit into this curve. That'd be pretty cool too. Anyway, so I did that because it was driving me nuts. And Caitlin had some questions about rendering and how to save the renderings and light and dark and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to show you guys a few things. I rendered Caitlin's project a couple times here. And I just want to show you some stuff. So we're going to go to, I went up here and I went to camera. Okay, camera. And I made a view similar to that one, all right? But you'll see here, 3D view 2, there it is. All right, and I added another thing to Caitlin's project. This is called a soffit. And all I did for this, I'll grab onto this so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. First floor RCP, there it is. This thing right here is just one of the ceilings, gypsum wallboard on metal stud. And I just drew, you know, when you come into architecture, ceiling, sketch ceiling right there. I just used the tools in here and drew that shape, just went all the way around it. So I'll show you what I got. So I've got this, and all I did was underneath edit type, you can change the thickness of it by going under structure and editing it. So I made it 1'4" thick, and it's 8 feet from the ground, and then another 16 inches in thickness itself. And so I created something that kind of brought down the look of the space because I thought it looked too large. Okay, so this now, it doesn't go all the way up, which is nice because, you know, we've got windows over here and stuff like that. We can top this thing. It is going to get a little dusty, but it isn't going to be too bad for this person to look through. We could even actually change this to like some sort of structure that isn't even solid but has holes through it. Might be an idea. But anyway, so now if you look at Caitlin's space, see, it seems a little bit more like we're walking into a reception area. And I created little extrusions right here for little suspension rods so that this thing could go all the way up and support this, so it's not just hanging there. And then I went and did some renderings. All right, so under view, render. And when you look through this, your lighting, you want to make sure that you're on interior, and you can do sun and artificial or artificial only. This one will make it look like a night scene. This one will make it look like a day scene. To start, your sun will probably be a little bit too bright, but that's okay. We can deal with that later. And quality for the settings, I did one in draft and I did one in low. Low took me about 10 minutes. Draft took me under 3. Whenever I'm working on something like this and all I'm looking to do is make sure the lighting is working, I use draft. I do it over and check things and do it again and check things. until I get to the point where I know everything's how I want it, and then I'll jump up to like a medium or a high and I'll let it render for a while. There's no use rendering and waiting for it if all you're doing is just checking to see how it looks. That's crazy. Alright, so I've rendered this a couple times and I will show you what I got. Test 1, that's the first rendering. So that was without that overhead thing. So it's kind of dull. Test 2, there's the second one with that image. I would add color, but there's really not a lot of color in here right now, but just an idea. But you can see that. And let's go back to view. Let's go back to that 3D view. There we go. So that guy. Go back to render. Show the rendering. This is what it looks like. So this is what I've rendered already. If you want to save it to the project, you hit right here, save to project. Kind of makes sense. So you click on that, save to project, and that's how I got these little renderings over in the project browser, because I hit save to project. So that's why they're in there. If I want to show this to the rest of the class, I go to export. And then from export, what I want to do is, where do I want to export to? I typically go to my desktop so I can find it right away. And then I am going to save it as a JPEG. Blah, blah, blah. It's a desktop, people. Well, that's why. And let's change this to like test 1. Hit save. And it will actually render it out and save a JPEG to your desktop. Pretty simple, alright? So that's how you do that. A couple other things I showed you, the whole idea of maybe adding some soffits and creating some visual identity and stuff like that. Alright, hopefully it's starting to help you guys out.